How's it going, guys? Indiana John here. Tonight I'm going to be doing a review on some handles I got done by Churboplicant or Casey on Instagram. Let's see. I think these were, it was $180, I believe, for the channel version, or $150 for just the handles. And there's a lot of things that I really like about it, and then there's a couple things that could be better, but overall they're pretty sweet, and he did a really good job. So let's see. I guess first thing would be balance. It's just ever so slightly blade heavy with a standard scorpion tip Tanto rep blade, and because he did a whole bunch of partially drilled through holes on the inside. I don't know if you can really see that. So I think it's just a little bit blade heavy. With some bigger spacers, maybe it'd be balanced out a bit better. Let's see. I really like the chamfered handles as opposed to round handles on like a normal liner G10 rep. Kind of feels sort of like an Alpha Beast or Bare Bones sort of a chamfer. Looks really nice. Let's see. So there are a couple things, a couple minor details that aren't really a big deal, but I thought I might as well point them out since I'm doing a review on it. So let's see. The first thing would be the Zen Pin Placement, which sort of affects two things. Or it affects one thing, the handle gap. So as you can see, it's pretty close when it's closed, and then it's got a little bit more of a gap when it's open. And that's just because the Zen pins on the bite handle, if you can see, are just barely too far that way. So if you look really closely at the chamfer next to the screw, you can see it sort of has a little bit of an arc on the bottom of that. Yeah, you can sort of see that. And then on this side, it has two angles. That's because it's just barely that way. Like, I mean, we're talking like 1/1000th of an inch. But with Zen pins, that little tiny bit does affect it just enough way out on the end of the handles that it's moved out, which doesn't affect flippability at all, and it doesn't, it doesn't hit the inside. I just thought I'd mention that, and I do want to point out that that is a really, really hard thing to get spot on, because I mean, just a teeny bit over, and you're going to get a funky handle gap, and there's not much you can do about that on an existing blade. If you're making a knife and one of them is a little bit off, you can just grind it a little different. What I do when I'm doing Zen pins is I just leave the 4 points of contact bulky, and then gradually grind away until I get a handle gap that I like. But you can't really do that when you're doing handles for a blade that's already done. So that's pretty hard. Okay, and then the one bigger complaint that I have about this is the tops of the handles are a little bit rough. And the reason that kind of is an issue is because if you're not careful, when it's opening, if you're doing like a rollover, it's kind of tricky over a table, but when you're doing a rollover, if your finger gets too close to that, it'll just pinch it really hard, and it's a little sharp, so that can cut. And that's not too tricky of a thing to fix. I just wanted to leave it like that for the review. And same with the balance. It's not a really tricky thing to do to fix. You can either just throw some heavier spacers in there, or get like a little bit of a regrind on the blade. And I didn't think to bring it down, but I do have a blade that I did a regrind. So it has like a, I guess kind of like an alt AB swedge. The sound, on this one is a little funky. And that's because the Zen pins, one of them got ground a little bit too small, and so it sort of buzzes. And because of that and there's a little bit of a gap on the top and bottom, he didn't feel like he should charge me for the channel bit, and he wanted to just scrap these channel spacers and do another set. But he said he could either leave them and not charge me, or scrap them and do another set. So he's gonna reimburse those, but they're kind of nice anyways, because they're sort of loud and has a very unique sound to it. I think that's pretty much all that I have for this guy. If you have any questions, please feel free to throw those down in the comment section, and I'll try to get back to you. There's probably a bunch of things that I missed, so I'll be glad to chat with y'all in the comments. And thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one.